Hey everybody, this is Matt and we're at Texas Toast Guitars. Thanks for watching. This is going to be another video in the what would someone do if they were at my shop for a day or two. In this case, it's going to be 2 days. And this is a tricky one, but it's going to be a fun one. It's something that you guys asked for, and that's what would Leo Fender do if he was in my shop for a couple of days with me. Now, I can already hear the feverish typing of people who, are smarter than I am, saying stuff like, what would Leo Fender do? We already know what he would do. We look at Music Man and we look at G&L. I got it. If you're not going to have fun with this, then you might as well just tune out now, because all I'm going to do is make you angry. So for those of you who know what I'm going to do in this video and are interested in having a few laughs with me, this video is going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be tricky though, because Leo Fender built and designed guitars a lot differently than I do. So I think there's going to be a lot of headbutting between me and the ghost of Leo Fender. But maybe not. So I'm going to lay out a few ground rules. One is, this is just for fun. It's not really what I think Leo Fender would actually make if he came back to life. Two, I love Fender guitars. They're super cool. So don't tell me that, Fenders are awesome and what have I done? Leo Fender's way cooler than I am. I got it, okay? I'm the punk kid. I bought Leo Fender's guitars. He didn't buy mine. I know all that shit already. And finally, I've been thinking about this one for a long time. And because the design ethos is so different with what Leo Fender probably would actually do and what I do and have done, we're gonna have to kind of compromise on a lot of things. So let's talk about those compromises right away. We could just build a regular Fender style guitar and go, what would Leo Fender do if he was in my shop for a couple days? Boom, he'd make something like this with a neck kind of like this. Okay, and that's cool, but guys, you have to realize that once this is all done, I have to do something with the guitar. So I would really like to work on my Challenger shape with Leo Fender. So that's kind of that's kind of another one of those weird gray areas, because I want to use my neck. That's where Leo Fender and I would probably part ways right away, because most of the guitars that he designed and built had this 1-inch thick construction with the swoop headstock, and I've certainly done Challengers with the swoop headstock before, but I'm trying to get away from doing that. So we're going to go ahead and deviate from the Leo Fender design ethos right off the bat by going with an angled headstock. So there's that. But we will be using maple. This is the maple we're going to be using for the fretboard, and this is the maple that we're going to be using for the neck. And I think as you guys watch this, you'll get to see, I'm going to use some jigs that you might not have seen before. And I think that, Fender was a pragmatic guy. And remember, he's coming into my shop to kind of hang around and work for a little while. He might go, hey, let's use this tool. Hey, let's use this stuff. That looks fun. So we might not argue and yell as much as I might think we would. We're going to be using ash for the body because I think it's a classic Fender wood, and because Fender doesn't really use it anymore. So this is a kind of a throwback. Maybe zombie Leo Fender would think this was cool. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see at the end of the video what we come up with. Let's see. Another few things that we talked about. I've done 2 videos that were reasonably popular, and they are. I called them, the clickbait title is What Leo Fender Got Wrong. And they both had something to do with the necks. They were kind of tongue-in-cheek because I don't think Leo Fender got anything wrong. I think that people who bought his guitars, thought something different than he did. So what I'm really saying is what you guys did wrong, even though Leo Fender told you how to do it right. One of them is that the necks weren't glued to the body. So our neck that we build in the next couple days will be a true bolt-on neck. We're going to use bolts to attach it, and the neck will be removable. We're going to use, one of the things that I talked about in one of those videos was how Leo Fender used screws instead of bolts. We're going to be using these easy lock threaded inserts on our neck or something like that. I haven't decided yet. We might use something different, but these have never let me down, so we'll probably use these guys. And that will be a good thing. The other thing that I talked about in those videos is how you guys take the Fender neck and you don't treat it like a tool, you treat it like something magical. And Leo Fender's whole idea was you can take one of these necks and if something happens to this neck, you can just buy a new neck. But nobody wants to do that these days. And I don't even know how easy it is to buy a G&L or an Ernie Ball neck. So maybe some of that, you can just get a new one thing was drifting out of Leo Fender's sphere. And he was like, well, I still like the ability from a manufacturing standpoint to bolt the neck in. So we're going to keep that, but we are going to make the neck a little bit nicer, I think. So it's going to be something that if you decide, if something happens to the neck, you can fix it. You can get a new fret job, something like that. But it's not going to be designed to be easily replaced. Does that make sense? So we're gonna fix a couple of things that Leo Fender didn't do that I think maybe he ought to have done, which was realize that people love his products and they want to keep them. They don't want to change them. They don't want to get new stuff and bolt it to the old stuff. So we're gonna stick with that. I don't know if he really would have thought that or not. Let's see. We are also going to we're going to do all of our routing is all going to be from the top, and we're going to utilize a plate. But I haven't decided what pickups we're going to use yet. But we are going to go with our Challenger shape on ash, and it's going to look cool. And I think we're going to go with this finish. Maybe not this color, but this finish. What I am talking about is what we call the durable thin finish, which is a cool color with a very, very thin finish that is easy to apply and fast and economical. Now, a lot of people think that Fender guitars were designed to be economical. I don't believe that. I think they were designed to be really cool guitars. And if you look at like how much a Fender guitar was in 1954 and how much, say, a gallon of gas was in 1954, and extrapolate that all out, what the buying power of a dollar was in the 50s versus what it is 70 years later, and you'll find that the Fender guitars weren't really cheap guitars. They weren't inexpensive guitars. They were cool, and they were a little bit of money. So, but we're going to use a finish that is fast and durable, and we're going to save some time on the finish, which is good because, like I said, we're going to lose a little bit of time on the neck. Maybe a little bit, maybe not. And I think what I would like to do is have this become a regular stock item, and I want to gauge the interest that we have in the What Would Leo Fender Do Challenger, and see what you guys think. So this is a little bit of a prototype. So the very first thing that we're going to do is we're going to get started on the neck because the body blank is already glued up. Our friend Dan from Guitar Wood Experts sent me this blank, and it is ready to go. We're going to, we have to, do stuff like truss rod and fret slots and glue up and a bunch of other stuff. So guys, that's the big plan for today's guitar. But enough with the bullshit talk. Let's get to work. Hey everybody, talk about a bonehead move. I just shaped the neck off camera. I forgot to push the play or the record button. But here it is. Sorry guys. Fortunately, there's lots of other videos of me doing exactly this with exactly this tool. And we're going to use it again in the video. Don't worry. Can't believe I did that. One of the most exciting parts. There was crap flying everywhere too. Right at the camera. It looked, let me show you. It looked like this. Well, kind of like that. Sorry, dudes. And ladies. There are a few ladies who watch these videos too. And I don't mean to leave you guys out. Even though I just said guys again. Dang it. Okay. Come on, you guys didn't really think I was going to do all this on the pin router, did you? Every so often I get a note from a guy who says, "Hey, I'm a machinist. I would love to come and be your pin router operator." And I'm like, why the hell would I let you run my pin router? It's the most fun thing to do in the shop. Any of you guys who watch my What Would Paul Reed Smith Do video might remember the argument that I had with Paul about using this truss rod. I don't think I would have to work too hard to convince Mr. Fender that this was the good way to go. There's a lot of reasons that we use these, and I think he would like all of them. They're inexpensive, they work great, they're easy to install. I also think he would dig that I have this cool jig to install the truss rods and a pin router set up specifically for doing just truss rods. If you watch any of those old Fender videos, you know, like the Super 8 stuff from the 50s, there were lots of tools that just had one job, and they did a lot of things, or they did just one thing on those tools. Now, I don't only use this pin router for truss rods, but the lion's share of what we do with it is truss rod installation. So let's go ahead and get this guy put in and see what Mr. Fender thinks. All right, I'm sure that this decision to use the 3 on a side headstock will be a point of contention among those of us who are super fans of everything that Fender did. But remember, guys, just like we did in the What Would Paul Reed Smith Do, I have to use a headstock that's not a trademark design. So, so using my own headstock, of course, is the easiest thing to do. Okay. I know for a fact someone's going to say Leo Fender designed the 6 on the side headstock so the strings would come off straight. I got it. But I sure do like my headstock. Alright, our neck is looking pretty good. It might not be exactly what Leo Fender would do, but remember, this is my fantasy. I can do whatever I want with it. And it's my guitar, so I can build whatever I want. I'm inspired by Leo Fender. So, like I said, the neck is looking pretty good. Now let's shift our focus to the fretboard. Fretboard is thickness, and I'm going to trim it down to size before we slot it. But I got to thinking, what scale should this guitar be? You know, obviously, Leo Fender used the 25.5-inch scale on a lot of stuff. One of my favorite guitars that Fender ever made was the Jag, and that's a 24-inch scale. We could use that. So I don't really know. I have to figure it out pretty soon, though. I decided to go with 24 3/4 because it's a scale that I'm very familiar with. Everything else just didn't quite work out on the Challenger neck blank. So I apologize to all the Fender fans, but we're going to have to put a Gibson scale on this. I promise I'll make it up to you later. And for everybody who says that my double stick tape isn't as fast as the super glue and masking tape trick, let's race. And done. Now I'm going to wait for you guys using super glue and tape, and then we'll cut the fret slots. I like to index the fretboard to the neck for glue up by drilling a couple of 5/64 holes through the fret slots, well, through 2 of the fret slots, and into the neck, and putting a toothpick in there. And as you can see, it's really tight. The other neat thing is that it helps me line up everything. I said it helps me line up everything by having that little pointy part of the toothpick stick out. And then I cut the ends of the toothpicks off with a little saw and then glue everything up. We used to use nails, and we decided that nails was a pain in the ass because you had to pull them out, or you'd have a nail glued into the fret slot that you had to get out somehow. After that, we used side dot material, but toothpicks are way more cost effective and they're easier to get than side dot material. Just go down to the local super mega mart and pick some up. Okay, so our neck is ready to get the fretboard glued on. Brad Angove is looking over my shoulder going, so I think we're ready. Truss rod is installed. You know what? Let's look here real quick. We have a hole for the wrench to go through. You got to check every time, peoples, because you never know. Okay, and this is the last chance we're going to have to make sure. Let's talk a little bit about some of the concessions that we've made and how I feel about them for the What Would Leo Fender Do neck. I think I'm going to catch some flack because I'm way off the reservation for what I think Leo Fender would have done, and I'm positive you guys feel the same way. You know, we went with a Gibson scale. Now, I'm sure Fender has, in the history of Fender, used that scale length, but it wasn't wildly popular with Leo Fender. I don't think. Maybe in the G&L days or in the Ernie Ball days, it wasn't unheard of to get a neck with that scale. I don't know. And we basically went with a Gibson-looking headstock. It's, you know, it's in that it's 3 on a side, so it's, yeah, it's not your typical Fender headstock, though, you know, Music Man has a 4 and 2, so I don't know. And I really think the Music Man is a really well designed headstock because it allows you to have the string path be very, very straight without the need for string trees. So that is a cool thing too. Yeah, so I don't know. Like I said, I think I'm going to catch some heat for using one a 3 on a side headstock, because as you guys know, I have a 6 on a side headstock that we could have used, but there's something about the Challenger. I really just kind of want it to have a 3 on a side. I don't know why. It's just me. Okay? Yeah. All right, get on there now. I just told everybody how easy this was, and now you're making it hard on me. There we go. Okay. Trim these guys off because we're going to use a clamping caul. Okay. And now we're going to clamp it, Jed. All right. Put a few more in the middle here. You know what else we probably could have done is put a decorative skunk stripe in the neck. I mean, we still could, but you know, sometimes stuff just for decoration, that doesn't make the guitar play any better or sound any better. It just makes it look cool, which I'm all for making stuff look cool. You know, Leo Fender, God, he made some neat stuff. I mean, I'm not telling you guys anything you don't know, but at the same time, I think doing something just for looks kind of is defeating the purpose of what we're going for here with this project. Okay, that looks pretty good. Let's clean up some of the glue on the where the nut is going to go, because it's easier to clean it up when it is liquid than when it is hard glue, right? Okay. Let's get some of that stuff off there. We'll just scrape it off with the razor blade. And yeah, okay. Okay. So while our neck's in clamps, I thought I would do a little work on the body. This is the Challenger shape that we're going to be using, and I've drawn it onto this ash blank here. And now I'm trying to get an idea of what sort of hardware I want to use, and you know, that kind of stuff. You know, and I thought, well, maybe I could use the Telecaster bridge. They're cool. We have some that we had made for us that are really neat, and I think Leo Fender would get a kick out of them. But the downside to that, and it's not much of a downside, is it limits you to a Telecaster rear pickup. Not a bad thing, just a thing. You know, I could go with a trem bridge. That could be cool. But that, I don't know. I don't know if I want to do that or not. Maybe. It's a definite maybe. Also thought we could use our hole shot bridge, or our, I don't know if this is what, I think I'm calling the hole shot bridge our version of the Tele bridge. So that we could use our bridge that kind of replaces the Tune-O-Matic, which is definitely cool. It's got some neat things going for it. One, it's a great big heavy piece of brass or stainless steel, and it's easy to put on. It's just got 3 great big screws, and it's all top loading, so that's neat. I'm leaning towards that. Again, not because you know, Leo Fender used a lot of bridges like this, but because I think he would dig it. Plus, it's our own bridge, so that's cool. I'm also thinking about a Telecaster plate, because I don't know, it's cool, it's chromy, it's neat. Maybe, I don't know. The pickups are the things that's stymieing me right now. I could go with a plate like this. I wonder, what would that look like? I could, to me, the thing that makes the most sense on a guitar built in 2020 is to cut humbucker holes. And actually, that's pretty neat. To cut humbucker holes, because anything can fit in there later on. So, in other words, if you wanted a Telecaster neck pickup in the bridge, you could find one that fits in a humbucker hole. You can't exactly go the other way. So yeah, I'm leaning towards humbuckers. But you know, Leo Fender always had pick guards, which kind of wondering if that wouldn't be a cool thing too, to have a neat pick guard. I don't know, maybe. through the pick guard. Actually, you know what? I think that might be the neat way to go. It's going to mean I have to make a pick guard template, but I've made pick guard templates before. Maybe if I'm really lucky, I can have Chris do it for me. I don't know. You know, the problem with ash bodies with humbuckers and no pick guard, there's no real problem, but they all kind of look the same, and they almost need a big piece of plastic. So I'm not sure, guys. We might have to think about this for a little while. I think what I'll do is I'll go ahead and call it a day for today. Go have lunch with Mrs. Toast, and come back tomorrow and start fresh. And yeah, we'll see where that puts us tomorrow morning. All right, guys. You don't have to wait till tomorrow morning. You just have to wait a few seconds. We'll see you then. Ready? Okay, everybody, just like I said, I'm now back. It is now tomorrow, which is actually today. Yesterday was yesterday. So I spent all day yesterday thinking about this guitar, and I edited the footage from yesterday, and there's a couple of things that I learned while doing that. One, this is going to be a long video. So yeah, this is definitely going to be a feature length kind of a thing, and unfortunately, it might have to be in two parts, because after I thought about it and thought about it and thought about it, I'm no closer to having, you know, in my head figured out what I want to do with the guitar. The neck's looking pretty good. I got all the excess trimmed off of that. That was, you know, easy bandsaw router kind of deal. I got my blank here, and I keep looking at different bridges, you know, and maybe some pickguard ideas, some different plates. And what I realize is that anytime you put a Telecaster style bridge on something, it looks like a Telecaster. The reason that is because when Leo Fender designed guitars, he had different plates and different bridges and different, you know, doodads and pickguards and trims and all kinds of different stuff that sort of became synonymous with that design. So yeah, I just, you know, I don't know. I look at stuff, and it wasn't until much later that you start to see Telecaster pickguards on, I don't know, like, for example, a Strat or a Jazzmaster, their Altered Universe series or whatever it is. So yeah, I just don't really know, you guys. Attempting to put yourself in the head of one of your idols is tricky, because you realize just how smart they were and how dumb you are. At least that's what I learned, is how dumb I am. You know, I guess the upside to that could be that I like my design so much that I don't really want to deviate from it. So, you know, there's a couple different ways we can go. One, we can throw a bunch of Fender parts on this guitar and have it look kind of a little bit like a Texas Toast guitar that was inspired by some Leo Fender components, or we could just go off the reservation and go, you know what, we failed at doing what Leo Fender would do if he was in my shop. Always an option. Failure is always an option. So I don't know yet. And the other thing is, I probably won't finish this guitar in the time that I gave myself to finish it, and it bums me out. Like I said, I think this might be a multiple part thing, which I hate doing, but I just don't know what to do, guys. I haven't quite figured it out yet, and maybe what I'll do is get the body cut out and get the neck set and see what you guys think could be a cool thing. So I think that's probably the best move. Let's go ahead and get the body cut out and get the neck fit, and then sometimes stuff starts to, you know, look a little bit like, oh yeah, I can put this here, I can do that. Oh, one other thing, I think I've decided to not go with our durable thin finish, because I don't think I want to have this be a cheap guitar. I don't want this to be a lower price point guitar. I want this to be a fewer frills guitar, but I think having a good finish on it is something that Leo Fender, I changed my mind on that. I think Leo Fender would want to have a nice finish. I don't know why, I just do. yeah, we can get like the fretboard radius, we can get the headstock done, we can do some of that stuff. But let's first start off by getting the body cut out. And who knows, maybe before today is over, I'll have an idea about what we want to do. This is going to be a lot. I feel bad for everybody watching this video who says I talk too much. They're already tuned out and they've already left comments. Matt, you talk too much. All right, let's get to work. I told you guys that was the most exciting part. The only thing I wasn't able to get was this guy right here. We'll finish that up on my beloved pin router, and while the template's on it, we can go ahead and put the neck pocket in too. For those of you who have never tuned in before, this is my beloved pin router. This is the router part, this is the pin part. And the pin follows the template on the bottom, and the router cuts where the pin goes. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to set the neck pocket, which, remember, the pin will follow this part of the template, and it will impart the cut onto the face of the guitar. This neck fits pretty snug in the neck pocket. Maybe a little too snug, actually. So, because remember, we're putting finish on this later. So we're not going to. Well, we're gonna cut it, and we're gonna see what how snug it is. But we want a little bit of wiggle room because remember, we're going to be putting finish on this neck, and even a very thin finish is something. So you have to take that into consideration when you're doing that. All right, guys, the neck pocket is in the body, and I'm kind of experimenting with some layout here. I really need to decide if I'm going to use this height bridge or this height bridge. As you can see, they're a little different. They both hide the string ball ends in the back of the bridge. So here is the bridge that we use on most of our Challengers, and here is the upgrade bridge that we offer on our daily driver. They're cool because, like I said, the strings actually hide in the back. So it's a top loader, but it's just a cool top loader. I need to decide what bridge I'm going to use, which of these two, or a different one, before I make the heel of the neck the right dimension to work with one of these two bridges. So yeah, having everything laid out is kind of a trick. But let's see. So I got the neck pocket is looking good. I reestablished my center lines. Kind of messed around, I don't know if you can see it, with a little bit of a pick guard, kind of funky idea. This portion of the neck will all get cut away and be level with the body. But again, the neck pocket might need to be at an angle and it might need to be straight. I don't know. What I can tell you is that having the body be a body shape and not a line on a piece of wood, and having the neck actually in the body helps me to work out that design in my head. So I've messed around with the design for a while, and I've thought about different pickups and different bridges and stuff. And I tell you what, guys, I'm actually more confused now than I ever was, especially when I thought, hey, TV Jones T. Armand pickups would really look neat in this. So yeah, I don't know. So I think what I'm going to do today is call an audible and maybe see what Chris thinks, and maybe see what you guys think. Maybe you guys have some super cool ideas for the What Would Leo Fender Do project. You know what this is turning into is what guitar looks kind of like a Fender that Billy Gibbons might like is really what this project is becoming, which is not a bad thing, but is drifting further and further and further away from what would Leo Fender do, I think. But that's okay. You know, it's just, you know, things kind of, you have to let things kind of be what they're going to be. So we're going to wrap this video up for today. I think we're going to revisit this later on, and maybe I'll have another video next week. I really didn't want to do that, guys. I really didn't want to have a multi-part video. But if you promise me that you'll watch this one and that one, then I'm going to go ahead and do it. And I'd like to hear what you guys think about this project so far. Knowing this, I may not take your advice, okay? Okay, cool. Because remember, if you're so smart, build it yourself. That's what I do. So anyway, let's go ahead and wrap the video up. Guys, if you like this kind of thing, give me the thumbs up. And if you have any ideas for this guitar or any others, please leave them in the comment section below. If you appreciate content like I do, you might want to go over to our Patreon page and consider becoming a member. Even $1 a month goes a long way to helping us bring you guys neat stuff like this. But if you can't do Patreon, we totally get it. Just share the video, like the video, everywhere where you can think of, and help us grow the channel that way. So until next time, this is Matt at Texas Toast reminding you that if you're so smart, build it yourself. And sometimes you might think you're smart enough and you get stymied by a kooky guitar idea that you thought sounded like a good idea until you started making it. But life is short. You might as well have a cool guitar. I say a lot of things. See you next time.